So I thought it'd be helpful to do a video on the process that I go through when arranging songs, and sort of talk you through that process and see if there's anything that you can take from that. The most recent arrangement I've done is this, is a small one on Last Christmas by WHAM. So the Christmas tunes are flowing because it's that time of year. So I thought, and because it's quite small, I thought we'd start with this one. But I would like to be doing this more and more with a number of other songs that I've arranged, and just to sort of talk through video where I'm explaining some of the decisions that I've made in the arranging process, and hopefully that will help some of you to, I don't know, pick up a few pointers or ideas or some inspiration or something that will help you on your own arranging endeavours. Now, arranging songs is something that I get a lot of enjoyment out of. It's something that I feel like has allowed me to improve my ear so much. So you can listen to a song and think, okay, how am I going to play that on the guitar? It gets your ear going, it gets you thinking about the harmony and the melody and all the other interacting aspects of the song. It's a great thing to practice, and you can do it from day one as well. You can start arranging songs from day one, and over time it does take a lot of practice to be able to get to a point where you're using quite advanced harmony and taking all these aspects of guitar playing, such as the technique and the rhythm playing and finger style, but also combining that with what theory-wise, and adding it all together to create a decent arrangement of any song that you choose. So let's talk about Last Christmas, the arrangement I've done, and see what we can learn from it. So first things first, your starting point is always going to be the tuning. This can actually change throughout the arranging process. Like wherever you start, you might get to a point in the song where you realise I'd be able to play this melody better if this string was tuned down a tone, etc. And then you might decide to use that tuning for the whole thing, so then you have to go back and rearrange what you've done already to this new tuning. So it can evolve as you go through that process. So it's important to be open to these changes, I guess. We're starting with a bass tuning and taking Last Christmas as a reference point. We know that the song is in D, so I thought a logical starting point would be drop D. And so one of the most important parts of arranging a song, in my eyes, is the melody is king. And it's all about the melody and sort of reinforcing that melody. So the melody has to shine through. So what should we look at first? We'll look at what the melody is doing in the song. So that's the melody. So we need to think, how are we going to reinforce that with some decent harmony? We've got this A triad here over D. That sounds really nice, doesn't it? And then we can use that and go down to the D triad. Hammer on to make it D major 7, D triad again. Easy, that's the first bit done. What you'll notice as well that when I played the melody at the start, I went, so there's that note which I'm actually omitting, and that's another interesting point when it comes to arranging. Like sometimes you'll have to make informed decisions about what you leave out, because you can't cover every aspect of what's going on in a song because you don't have enough hands. So sometimes you'll have to make decisions as the arranger on what to omit. I decided to leave out that note because it's already there in the chord. I'm just not highlighting that melody note again. So it's, because if I was to, it would make it too awkward to then change back to the A. So I'm just going. The main aspects of that melody are present, so the listener will fill in the gaps pretty much. So for the next part, the melody goes like this. And we're on to a D minor 7 chord. So you'll notice to get that melody note, I'm not barring the whole B. I'm actually lifting my first finger up to allow for this E, and then I bring the bar down. So that's over D, B minor 7. That sounds a little bit flat to me. The harmony, there's no movement in the harmony, you know, so that brings us to a crossroads where I'm thinking, what can I do to make that more interesting? I mean, it is all over a B minor 7, but maybe we can change the harmony up to give it more movement. So that's why I decided to add this sharp fifth to the chord. Because then when the fifth comes down, it creates this nice sort of harmonic movement. So I'm basically harmonizing the melody in sixths, so it's going, but over a B minor. And I'm doing it all in one position, so I'm going. So that is a lot nicer, isn't it? It sounds like there's some movement going on. It creates more interest. And then for that second bit, again, that sounds a bit flat and a bit boring to my ears, so I decided, how can I change that up? You have to get creative here and think, how in any way can you play that differently to give it more interest? So that melody note again is, so we're going, so I've got that melody note open, so I've got that open B note, and then I can come up to here to play the B bass note, and I've got that where it creates a nice sort of like sustained notes over one another. It creates like this nice mood, and again it adds a bit more interest. So I'm going. So there we go. It's just about, thinking outside of the box and what you can do with what you've got, and utilizing open strings as well is something that I love to be able to do. It allows you to move around the neck a little bit easier if you've got an open string to play for the melody note. So, and then moving on, we're up at E minor, some sort of E minor chord. I've decided to go for an E minor 9 because of the melody. What was it? What's the melody? So I'm at this E minor chord because the melody is a what was it? F sharp. But then immediately I could stay at that chord and do that. Got a melody note, this open E melody note. So then, you're thinking, how can I enhance this melody? A little bit flat to me, so what could I do? I could bring it down. So we're starting with this E minor 9. And then we're going back down to this open E chord, except obviously it's drop D, so I've got to fret this second fret. I'm using my thumb. Then the melody does that. Again, how can we make that melody? How can we reinforce that melody? Make it more interesting. What did we use earlier? We used those sixths. Maybe we could use sixths again. That sounds nice, right? So we're going. Great, that's working. And then for the next bit goes up to an A. to get that so I'm walking the bass up here, and on its own that sounds horrendous, but as it's walking up and in the context of the song, it sounds really good. So I could do this. But that just sounds just on an A major chord, sounds a bit flat again. Maybe on an A7. Not working for me. Maybe we're getting somewhere, or we could use this A9. That is a lot richer harmony. And I'm still feeling there's something else we could do, so we could go from that A9 and then change it to an A7 flat 9. Because then you've got this harmony which is moving down like that, and that's good voice leading. Right, so I'm going from the E. Yeah, that works. And then we're into the next bit, which is kind of like another part of the song where it goes. So I'm back at this sort of D. I mean, it is an A over D basically, or you could also call it a D add 9, no, D major 9, I guess. So this is all between A major triad, D triad, A major triad, and back to D. So it's going. That's all I'm doing for that bit. Back into the D. That's the same melody. Same thing when I'm playing this D minor 7 sharp 5 with an E on top of the melody note, and then down. So it's that sharp 5, and then bringing that sharp 5 down. Same sort of movement. And then it goes up to here where it's. So the melody for that second part is. So that's what the melody's doing there. So we've got. So I need to get the melody note up here. So there's another problem we've got to fix. We've got another B up here. So we can hit that. We've got this. So that's a D minor 7. And then we can just do the triads coming down. So what's that? That's a D triad to a B minor triad to an A triad to a G triad. So that works. Well, how I came up with that, it just sounds correct to me. All over B, if we're talking in B, they're just different forms of a B minor. So that's B minor 7, B minor, that's a B11, and then we end on this E minor, which is the next chord. So. Which works. Then we're in this E minor 7. So you've got the melody right under your fingers for this point. I create interest here because I'm not doing anything else, because I've got to keep that E bass note fretted. I'm not doing anything else to sort of like make the melody more interesting, except the way I'm sort of strumming. I'm using this hand a lot more in that part, which I'll get to soon. The passing note back up to A9 again. So then the melody's going. But then I go into the next bit, which is like the kind of like synthy bit with the high melody, which sounds really good on harmonics. So we've looked at what I'm doing to cover the harmony and the melody, but now this hand plays an important part in terms of deciding what happens rhythmically and being the driving force behind the arrangement. And so at the start of that, figured out I'm doing that. Obviously I want this low D note to be involved heavily, and if you listen to the original song, when I heard it, I kind of was hearing this kind of bass line. So I wanted to keep that kind of rhythm going throughout. So that was important to me. So to start with, I decided so I've got these little slides in there as well. That's kind of just like the cherry on top sort of stuff. The main core of this arrangement is this, which is important. And then we go into the B minor 7. So I'm doing that. So to keep that bass line going, so you'll notice that. So I'm making these informed decisions about how I'm gonna move around on the neck as well. Up to that E minor 9. A little break from the bass line. To this, I'm keeping that bass going. For this, that was quite an important little feature, I guess, because it kind of, on its own, it sounds like that rhythm shouldn't fit. This little kind of arpeggiated flick. That's what I'm doing there. So it's kind of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes fitted into one beat with a sort of percussive thing at the end. Up to speed, it works. I might do a separate lesson on the kind of like fast arpeggiating of things. That's what I'm doing there. That's in a technique I'm pretty sure I got off Andy McKee. I learned that through learning loads of his songs. So yeah, that's back into the A. Start with this artificial harmonic on the 12th fret, and then 7th fret harmonic on the D string. And then I had to get this melody in harmonics. So I've got a harmonic there and one there. So 7th fret of the D, 12th fret of the B. That works. But then I needed that note, which is a C sharp. I needed that as a harmonic, and there's no natural harmonics available for C sharp. So I had to think outside the box. Where could I get a C sharp harmonic? I know that, well, there is one actual natural harmonic, which is C sharp, but it's one that's very rarely used because it's hard to sort of pronounce. It's hard to get sounding good, and it's the 4th fret of the A string, or the 9th. So you've got like a load of hidden harmonics at the 9th fret, and they're the same at the 4th. They're just hard to get to sound because you've got to really pluck quite hard at the bridge, and even then they're not that pronounced. So in a flurry, when you're playing natural harmonics, and you add one of these in between them, it's not going to stick out as much. It doesn't sound too bad, but I decided to go for artificial harmonic by fretting the 9th fret and then plucking up here. Takes some practice to get right. That works. Then we're up at the B. So we've got that, 12th fret, I'm hitting the 19th, and then another 12th fret on the B, and then I add this as this kind of like to keep the movement there. Then we need to do the in harmonics. So we're here. So we got one there. I'm fretting down my 2nd finger on the B string, on the 10th fret of the B string, and then hitting the artificial harmonic up here, and then coming down to the 19th fret, open strings B and G, and then the 12 frets. There we go. As I'm hitting that last 12th fret, I'm hammering on to the 2nd fret, which is the E. I'm adding those notes just to, again, give it some movement. So there I'm just adding the 2nd and then down to the root. And then we need, what is this? Need that in harmonics, so. But remember, I'm here, so I'm here after playing the. So I want to keep things down here, ideally. So I decided to go for artificial harmonics here. So I've got the open 7th. So I've got that 19th fret open E. Then if I fret the 1st fret of the B string, 2nd fret of the G, and then the 4th fret of the D string, and then play artificial harmonics like that, that gives me the melody. To sort of, when I decide where to go with this, it's a lot of trial and error. I mean, I look like I'm just coming up with it now, but obviously I've worked this all out, and this part especially took a lot of time, you know, trial and error, and once you even then decided what you're going to do, it takes a lot of practice to get it to a point where you're able to play it quite fluently, and you'll see even now I'm struggling a bit. And then from there I can come down to this 19th, and then that allows me, so I can play that, and then get the open A note, then add some filler harmony, and then we got the little bit at the end, which I use just to end the mini arrangement on a D. And I do this little thing where I'm bending behind the nut. So there we have it, a little taster into the sort of arranging process. There's a lot more to it than that, and I'm going to be looking more at some of my arrangements, and hopefully you can use this as a learning tool and pick up some ideas here and there, or maybe sometimes I find just hearing someone talk about their process, it can help. So hopefully that is the case here. And as I say, I'm going to be doing more videos like this, so do tune in, do subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.